quick question. Who has not heard of Coursera? Okay, there you go. So, Richard Wong.
All right, thank you. Thank you, Jay. All right, so first of all, thanks for having me here. My name is Richard. I am the VP of Engineering here at Coursera. Is it on? Here we go. Hello? Can you hear me? Closer. All right, perfect. So this is me. So today I just want to actually spend some time and discuss with the future of education with the audience in here. Specifically focus on a couple of topics, so I'm going to go through and talk to you about this. So a little bit of background about myself. I run the engineering team at Coursera, but before that, I work on some other consumer technology product at LinkedIn and Microsoft before that. All right, Coursera. So we already asked this question, so it seems like everyone has heard of Coursera. So many of you probably heard of Coursera back in 2012 when our co-founders, Andrew Ng and definitely Kohler, they started this company by putting one of their courses online, and overnight there are hundreds of thousands of people came and learned the content from Stanford. So this is how we started the company. We actually have made very good progress in the last 6 years, or close to 6 years at this point, in terms of both user and the business that we are going to provide the value to the users. So these are some of the reports on how we are making progress. Now we have over 180 partners. Most of these partners are university partners. They put content, high quality education content on our platform. But most recently, we also have industry partners to put content on our platform. Most recently, we have Google. They put a Google IT certificate on our platform, and many other industry partners. Now we have, instead of one course from Andrew, we have 2,700 courses on our platform at this point, and that became the choice of 30 million learners across the world to consume this content. We also have a concept called specialization. We think about a course is something that you learn a skill, and specialization is something that you master a skill on our platform. And some interesting development is also about like going on the higher end of education. Degree is still one of the most important ticket for people to change their life. So at Coursera right now we have 10 degrees that we either actually already on our platform or is going to be on our platform this year. One also interesting development is, in addition to the 30 million users that maybe many of you are one of the users, we also have 900 business customers that are on our platform, getting the content and the learning experience to up-level the employees. So basically we have this like three-sided platform to attract the learners for people actually looking for skills and credential that employer recognizes. And we attract the education partner who want to distribute their content at low cost and at scale. And then finally, we attract the employers to come to our platform who are looking for an experience to up-level, to transform their talent through rapid changes in the world. So this is a high-level introduction of Coursera. So today's topic is about future of EdTech. So I will actually provide a very good framework to talk about, different aspects of EdTech. So I have my, from the experience I have been working at Coursera in the last 3 years. So we have a few observations I would love to actually share with this team and actually discuss a little bit more on your perspective as well. So number one thing that I see is the future of learning and future of working are converging. So let me actually talk about it multiple times about lifelong learning. So this is actually one of these interesting chart from a book by Thomas Friedman recently. It's called, the book name is called Thank You for Being Late. So one of the issues that we are seeing these days is the evolution of technology and the changes it's bringing to the world. It can be AI, machine learning, social media, internet, like a number of technology advances that accelerate the rate of change of the skill that's needed for people to survive in the world. On the other hand, human being, we are very used to a way on how we learn, how we actually gain new skills in the past. So the pace of the human adaptability is getting to be slower than the technology evolution. So there needs to be some solution for us to be able to bend the curve, the orange or yellow line, right? To learn faster, to catch up with the changes of the world. So that is a bad news, because if we are not able to provide this solution, many of the jobs is going to be, many people are going to be unemployed. They are going to be out of job and create a big society problem. In fact, McKinsey have this study saying that 50% of the jobs in the US is risk of being eliminated in the next 20 years. So many of the jobs that today that you see everywhere, they will be gone, like taxi driver, translator, or customer service. Many of them will be replaced by automation. And those technology are not out of reach. Many of it will be replaced by existing technology that we have today. It's just a matter of time. So someone needs to solve this problem. So that comes down to this concept of lifelong learning. In the past, education is a one-time event, or your professional career and learning are two separate segments of your life, right? When I go through my undergraduate and my master's degree, I think I'm done. I'm done with my education. Now I have to work. Unfortunately, the world has changed, right? So when I actually did my undergraduate, there was no smartphone. So there's no mobile programming. When I was doing my undergraduate, there's no big data. Now, my company, my team, my engineers, they are using this technique to actually solve a real world problem. So how do people know about that, learn about that, and and remain competitive to do that? The only way to solve this problem is provide a lifelong learning opportunity for everyone, so that even when many of these jobs get automated by technology, people will learn new skills and solve difficult problems that machine is not able to catch up yet. So this is something that is important. And Coursera is working on solving this problem. Number two is mobile is in an irreversible trend for accessing information. So I think this is very obvious to people, but let's just show some data to see what it means for many of the people in the world. So this is a growth of mobile data. This is one of the Ericsson report that shows like the scale actually here on the left is 2012, now is 2017. So it's 5 years. And the amount of data consumed on mobile is more than 10 times already, from 1 exabyte to 14 exabyte. So, and this is still growing in some astonishing rate of 60% a year. So mobile is becoming the way for people to consume content. And if you actually zoom out of the United States and look at the world, like this is even more obvious for some countries. So for example, some of these like very populated country with hundreds of millions of people, India, Indonesia, China. India has like 79% of the access to internet traffic is through mobile devices. So United States actually is only at 41%. So to many of the people actually in those countries up there, mobile is their primary device or the only device that they have. They don't have a desktop computer or laptop computer. Like mobile or the tablet is the only device that they have to access internet. So we need to be able to find a solution to help these people to get access to education in the way that is possible and is feasible to them. The third point I want to make is about we live in a global village that with billions of people and it is still growing every day. So what does it mean? So we talk about 50% of the job is going to be eliminated or at risk of being eliminated in the United States. But you know what? Outside of the United States, 300 million of people, including the whole world, 300 million people are going to enter a workforce in the next 10 years. And 60 million of them is coming from China, 40 in Brazil, and 100 million in India. So when we need to solve a problem, we are not solving a problem only for the United States. We need to solve the problem for the whole world. If you look at Coursera, we actually have a pretty good representation about the needs on the global, the whole world. We have learners from over 200 countries that are already on our platform. And over 3/4 of our users are actually coming from outside of the United States. So that including developed countries and developing countries outside of the United States. But if you are really talking about the emerging economy, it's still like 50% of our users are coming from the emerging economy that is on Coursera's platform. So what does it all mean? So we talk about lifelong learning, the future of work and learning are converging. We talk about mobility. We need to fix the problem that like desktop is not the only device for people to access their content. And also we talk about the world actually share a lot of the same needs. So the solution is that we need to provide a lifelong learning opportunity to anyone, anywhere with a globally accessible and scalable solution. And that's what we're trying to do at Coursera. So I want to share a little bit of work that we have done in the past few years on how we're trying to attack this set of problems. And specifically focus on mobile applications and the cloud infrastructure that we're relying on. So mobile applications. So this is our mobile application at Coursera. We have built up our first mobile application back in 2013. When we first built it, we actually positioned that as a companion application just for people to consume videos on the device. But gradually over years, we actually catch up with a set of desktop feature to the point that we at this point, most of the learners is able to complete a full course on the mobile. When I say complete a full course, including watching video, join a discussion forum to talk about questions that people have, do an assignment on the mobile device, or even do a peer review on other people's work. So we really try to make the mobile a full experience for people who only have the mobile device to have the same access at Coursera. This number 40%. 40% actually is for the new user, for every 100 user that is coming to join Coursera, 40 of them, actually the first interaction with us is through mobile. Not on the desktop web page, but through the mobile applications or mobile platform. And if you look at our Coursera, we also have some high quality offering like degrees. 80% of the degree user, they always use mobile on our platform to continue to pursue the 2-year journey at Coursera. 80% of them actually use mobile as a tool to do that for them. So with all these changes, right, that actually allow us to be able to catch up with what the desktop experience is. But on top of the desktop experience, we also try to push something that is very specific to mobile that makes sense for the mobile ecosystem. For example, we allow people to take notes on their mobile devices while they are actually taking courses. We allow people to do offline access. We actually see that this feature is particularly important for people in the emerging market, that when their network connectivity and infrastructure may not be as good as here, that everywhere is covered by 4G LTE, or when the access fee in those places are relatively high compared to the income over there. So many people actually go to a place, download the content, and then on the road they consume the content offline. We do calendar integration to integrate their learning schedule into their mobile devices. We do notification to nudge the students that, hey, it's time for you to actually submit your classwork. So we see that all this innovation on the mobile platform has significantly increased the experience and engagement for the users to the point that just by last year, in 2017, the mobile engagement at Coursera has doubled just in 1 year. So that is about what we have done on the mobile side and the type of innovation and learnings that we had. The second one is talking about scalable infrastructure. So before I talk through about what Coursera did, I want to tell you a story on. I used to work for LinkedIn and Microsoft. They're big companies. They're working on a set of very popular consumer products, internet products. So the way that it worked when I was in there typically works like this: when someone called SRE, the site reliability engineer, they are managing the data center and infrastructure. They will come to me in January and ask this question: hey, Richard, can you tell me what is the computing resource that you need in June? All right. And then I send this person something and say, we probably need like 30 more machines or something like this. Then I say, okay, thank you. Let me send a quote to some vendor, to our procurement team, and they will figure out the bidding process, blah, blah, blah. And then in March, you say, okay, we got the quote back, and we'll order this third machine for you from Dell or from some companies. And in April, then they say, okay, the machine finally arrived, if we are lucky, in a month. And we'll start putting them on a rack, plug in the power, connect to Ethernet cable, and do some testing, make sure that they're up and running. And then a month later, they say, okay, we have tested all these third machines. They all plug in and say, Richard, this is available for you to do some testing. So if we are lucky, then we can start doing that, installing our application there in May. If we're not lucky, there's some problem with the devices, like maybe the motherboard is broken, the hard drive is broken, then we'll probably go back a little bit on the cycle to do that. So clearly there's some problem with this cycle. So number one, it takes a long time to get it done. Number two, many people actually get involved in this process. Probably there are like 10 people involved in this process to just get it done. Number three is because of the risk of you has an extreme long cycle and the uncertainty in the business, right? Sometimes I say I need 30 machines, right? But maybe the business evolved to the point that we actually need 60 machines. So usually what we do is we over provision. We just, to be safe, right? We actually ask for more. So the end result is that we may underutilize the machines. And finally, we may solve this problem for one location, one data center. Think about that for applications that have global presence. We need to do that for every data center that we have in the world to solve this problem. So that's not what we want. And so now, how do Coursera, do that and achieve and try to solve this problem? So, you may kind of imagine that how the data center look like and how Coursera look like. We have thousands of machines. We have petabyte, like tens and hundreds of petabytes of data on our platform to serve to the user every day. So you imagine this is how our infrastructure look like, right? But in fact, this is how our infrastructure look like. I actually have never seen those machines. Even though we have thousands of machines, we never own any physical infrastructure, network cable, power generator. Those are all on the cloud for us. So now, in order for us to scale the machine, instead of going through that 6-month process or sometimes even longer, what I need to do is I click this button and say, okay, we're using Amazon. So we just click this button and actually get another machine that allows us to serve our user. And to the point that we are not really clicking a button because everything is completely automated. So when we see traffic that comes in, we'll automatically scale more machines programmatically. So to give you one example on what it means for us and how it solves our problem. So this is actually an interesting event that happened in January. We had a major product and market launch in January. So this is how a normal traffic curve looked like. Historically, we actually have record. And this is what actually happened on that day because of a big launch that we had. So we had more than 6 times of the normal traffic on our platform. So in the old world, if you knew that you have, well, first of all, you don't know how much traffic, whether it's 6 times or 10 times or 100 times, you don't know. But let's assume that you know about it 6 times. The only way that you solve your problem, how do you do that? You tell your SRE and say, okay, let's buy 6 times more machines so that we can solve the problem. And then after that night or after 2 days later, then you tell your SRE team, well, we're kind of done with that. Let's let the machine sit there for a while, right? But for us, this is just turnkey. Now we're able to scale to tens of millions of users over a very simple way to scale our infrastructure to serve the need of the user. But in addition to the elasticity, not just about hey, we're very flexible, we can scale to much bigger number of servers and data pool. The other advantage we see for cloud infrastructure is many of these cloud providers in the world have global presence. When I say global presence, that means they have many data centers across the world that is ready to be used. So, for example, in the case of Amazon, we're using AWS, we're using CloudFront as a CDN solution. They already have data center across the world in major cities and continents. So for many of the users in international location, their devices do not need to ping a machine in United States West Coast. What they need, what we can provide the experience for them is a much seamless, faster experience because they are connecting to the endpoint that are very close to their geographic location. So except for elasticity, it also improves the user experience and performance for the user. So if you look at technology, technology in the last many years, it evolved to the point that number one, it creates some crisis for us. The crisis is on now we need to catch up on the change of technology. Otherwise, we risk losing our jobs. We may lose our jobs, all of us here. Without a solution, we are going to run into some big social problem for the world. However, Coursera is committed to solve some of this problem by providing a lifelong learning education to people in the world so that we can bend the curve and get us ahead of the technology and solve the problem that is still critical for the world. On the other hand, technology also creates some opportunity for us that is impossible in the past. The technology including mobile access. So think about today, someone probably at this point is sitting in China, in India, or in some developing country using a $50 Android tablet to consume a Stanford machine learning course, right? That is what is happening at this second, right? The other thing that actually technology has enabled us is the global footprint of this cloud provider allow company like Coursera to be able to build a scalable solution to serve tens of millions of people without hundreds of millions of dollars of upfront investment on the network infrastructure. So it is really allowing us to be able to democratize the education using the minimal amount of cost and serve the maximum number of learners. So this is what I have prepared for today. So in summary, now because of technology, because of mobility of devices, because of cloud infrastructure, because of commitment from many of these EdTech companies in the world, the best education in the world is now available to almost everyone in the world. And I hope to actually have some discussion with this team here, this group here, see, kind of pick your brain and see what are the other things that you have opinion and as a discussion. Thank you. Yeah. No, don't worry. I'll probably stand and answer questions. Yeah.
If anyone has any questions, they can raise them.
Oh.
It's a question to Richard as
Yeah.
well as Amit. One of the slides you were talking about implement adaptability and technology, yellow curve was the key thing.
Yeah.
And Amit was saying that one-on-one education is very important.
Yeah.
Also you said it is scalable. I see there is a fallacy whether I can achieve, because I have a company here in Menlo Park, specifically on AI.
Yes.
So I want to know how really I can adopt your human adaptability rather than if I go in this track, maybe I will kill.
Yeah.
So I want your opinion.
So I'd love to discuss about this. I don't think these two things are necessary.
Can you repeat the question?
Oh, the question basically is about, hey, one of them is about building a scalable solution. The other solution is about have one-on-one to provide personalized or adaptive type of learning. So it sounds like these two things are kind of contradictory to each other. What's our opinion about this one? So I don't necessarily think that they are contradictory to each other. If you think about the whole cycle of education, there are definitely components on mentoring or personal tutorship, but there's also another cycle of people just passively practicing learning, right? Just like when we were in school, like we always go to a lecture hall and listen to the professor, and then we do something proactive is to submit the assessment. But we also have like office hour to talk to TAs and talk to other students. So these are all sort of integrated activities to allow us to better learn. So at Coursera right now, what we are trying to focus is on the part about delivering those content, allow a scalable solution for people to assess their progress on those content. But I think it still needs to be, like in some cases, it still need to, if we want to achieve certain level of quality of education, I can see that we still need to supplement it by one-on-one tutoring or some form of human interaction. So one example we have done in Coursera is we have degrees on our platform. Those degrees are fully accredited bachelor or master degree that are offered by prestigious university. One of our early partners is UIUC. They have a Master of Computer Science degree on our platform. And UIUC is one of the top 5 computer science schools. So they use our platform to deliver content to students. But we also use technology that we have built to facilitate some video conferencing session between the instructor and the students and office hour between them at a smaller scale, at a breakout scale. So I think these are kind of complementary to each other, not necessarily contradictory to each other. So that's my point of view. I mean, you have something?
Next
Okay.
question. Oh, we already got one. We'll try someone, I think you didn't get a chance.
Hi, certain fields like computer science and software development need perhaps more attention because of lack of teachers and also the growth of technology. So in what ways are you handling them, especially with challenges to mobile access in doing software development learning?
Okay, so the question is about like what we're doing for like computer science learning on using mobile technology. So to be honest, I think this is a bigger challenge for us. So when I say a bigger challenge for us is we definitely have no problem on delivering videos to allow students to learn the concept, all right? When I say the challenge to us is when people actually submit when people need to do assignment. A big part of computer science learning actually is practice, right? If you have done computer science or engineering degree, a big part of learning is actually you do it. You do the project, you do the work, you write a program to do that. So we are trying, we are learning on how to do that as well. We definitely see that there are some differences between people's learning experience on, for example, business domain content versus computer science domain. We see that the engagement for the user on using our mobile are different. Like business probably is like 10% or 15% higher than a computer science. There's one last mile that we have not solved is that how do you do programming on your mobile device? So a few directions that we're heading to is this. We recently actually, in the last year or so, we have integrated a programming environment onto the web environment. So let's step back. If you think about in the past, if you have gone through computer science training, the way that it works in school was this. Your instructor will tell you that, hey, you're learning write hello world in Java, right? The first thing they do is actually give you a piece of paper and say that, go download JDK from Oracle, go download this editor from somewhere, and then to set up your computer to start with. And there's like 20 steps, right? If you miss one of the steps, then you'll fail. You get very frustrated. One thing that we're trying to solve this problem is to remove the burden of the student on, number one, relying on computer and the setup to actually continue to learn the content. So what we have done is actually we have built an integrated environment on the web page. So people actually can start, without installing software, they can actually start coding right in front of the browser. So we'll do the compilation on the cloud and send the result back to the user. We'll let the user see the outcome of that. But on the other hand, I think that will be a reasonable experience. So this is applicable to mobile. I would say that the real challenge, some of them will be, if people are using a tablet, probably is still a relatively acceptable experience. If people are really using a small phone, that may not be the most kind of convenient experience for them because they need to type a lot of things and see a big screen in order to achieve that goal. So, but this is still, we have made some good progress, and then actually we see user change their behavior and doing that more on tablet devices. But I don't think we are completely done. We're still learning. Yeah.
Last question here.
A big feature of traditional classroom learning is learning not only from the professor but from the peers.
Yep.
So a lot of schools have compulsory participation.
Yep.
So what is Coursera doing to encourage peer learning and peer participation?
Yep. So if you look at Coursera, we have a couple of different product offerings, and we're trying to solve the problem in some different ways. So the first product that we have launched about 6 years ago, which is still a big part of our portfolio, is we call it Mood Learning. So it's a course that have hundreds and thousands of people that come and learn. So in those cases, one-to-one probably is not scalable, but we do actually have a set of things that encourage people to collaborate. For example, discussion forum. So people participate in forum. In some cases, right, this is a mandatory assignment for students to participate in forum to achieve certain goal. We do have concept called peer review. So when people submit their assignment, it's not graded by the instructor, but graded by a set of peers. So this is actually something unique for Coursera because we have hundreds of thousands of people taking a course at any given time. So that will become a very scalable solution, and people can learn from each other. And then when we have some of these higher requirement content, like degrees are higher requirement, more rigor type of content, we actually have built a set of very specific feature to allow people to interact with each other, including video conference. We have integrated Slack, so for students to actually talk to each other to solve a problem together. We have done a set of things we call team projects, to allow students the instructor can give a set of specific projects to the users or to the students, and then assign roles to them, and then they need to deliver this project together based on structure and based on the platform that we have. So we definitely understand, at Coursera, we call those high-touch features. Basically, the human element in there, the interaction in there is critical for the learning experience. So again, this is an area that we are exploring. We have done some work. I think this is not going to end anytime soon. It's going to be a major direction for us to be able to extend and up-level the learning experience through a different medium. So I see that the way that technology evolved for education is similar to 10, 15 years ago. when you take a picture, when you take a photo, the thing you do is you take a, you have a camera, you take a picture, and then you go to a store to develop the film, and then you get a piece of paper out and say, hey, this is your photo. And then when digital camera just came out, people say, oh, like, I'm not sure about the experience of this digital camera. So it seems lower quality, not as good. I still love this paper thing. But I don't know how many people actually will still say that at this point because of the investment in technology, because the innovation that's going in there. Now the digital photo is easier, faster, more convenient. You can share it to your family in like 1 second. So that is the evolution we're going through for education. So now maybe we still have some gap between the paper photo, that means the traditional on-campus experience, and the future. But I think that because of the evolution of technology, in 5 years, 10 years, probably we'll look back and say that, oh, of course, I think the online thing is the right way to solve the problem. Yeah. All right.
All right, so thank you, Richard.
All right, thank you.